Hello everyone, I am back once again. Very different video because, well, I have a new setup, so very different video setup wise. But to continue the reviews leading up to Spider-Man Brand New Day, here is the second review, the Marvel Legends Daredevil Born Again Punisher. So here we are, there he is right there. I do not have the box with me, unfortunately. So here are some photos right here. Really nice looking. There's the front, and there's the side, and then a little read up right there if you really need to know about the Punisher. So there we are, but you're not here for the box, you're here for the figure. So quick brief overview. I really like this guy. I really do. Maybe a tad bit more than Daredevil. However, there is a new Punisher figure out there, which I'll show on screen, which may just be the best MCU Punisher. So is this figure worth getting, especially with that new one coming out? Well, I will answer that question, starting off with the painting and the sculpting. So, the painting and the sculpting on this guy is really good. I will say paint-wise, it is definitely lacking in some areas. Although, to be fair, I don't know what you're really expecting for, like, a Punisher. I don't think Punisher should have so much paint, I'd say. But maybe some, like, silver or something at least. Now, of course, main point of contention with the sculpt is the head sculpt. People have noted that he looks too sad. And even goes so far as to say he looks nothing like Jon Bernthal. In my opinion, I find that to be a huge exaggeration. I think this looks pretty close to Jon Bernthal. I think the only thing wrong here is the expression. The eyebrows really make him look like he's really sad. And that's really the biggest fault here, because everything else is great. The head sculpt, the hair especially, is really good. I know Robo from Robo Don't Know said, like, oh, this is based off Punisher Season 2 rather than Punisher from Born Again. But it's not so much of a big deal for me. Unless if you're like a die-hard and you really want everything to be super, super accurate. That aside, though, really nice sculpt on the head sculpt. Moving down to the arms, really good. Really nice sculpt here, especially with the wrinkles. I like that there is also some added details here. Not only are there some pockets, but you also could see some decals there, like an American flag logo. And then from what I understand with the right, this looks like, I think, a Marine logo right here, which also looks like the Punisher logo. Very nice, and it's very much pinless, so it doesn't look ugly. Really good. And then moving on to the torso. Again, really nice sculpted detail. The paint on the skull logo is very good. However, if I had to complain, I wish the skull logo was a tad bit brighter, because in the show it is really, really bright. But yeah, really nice detail, especially, and very nice sculpting, especially here with the throwing knives that he never used in the show. You can see the magazines there, very nicely well painted. And very nicely well sculpted. No shading though, but I don't think you need shading. Holster looks really nice. Maybe you could have had some silver on the buttons and such, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. And then moving on to the back, very nice back detail. Again though, maybe some silver for the buckles and everything like that. Of course, the knife sheath looks really nice. And then, but yeah, there's really nothing to say other than, like, everything is fine. It just maybe, I guess, needs more paint. And of course, skull logo needs more brightness. Head sculpt needs a bit more refining, but it's not that bad. Lower legs, pretty good. Again, very nice wrinkling detail. I love the fact that he has knee pads. I really do. The stitching on the, I think this is stitching at least, or I think this is more pockets, is really nicely well done. I love the pinless joints. And the boots detail on it looks great. So overall, detail is really good. Yes, as I mentioned, a lot of flaws, especially with the head sculpt and the skull logo. But it's not so much of a big deal as people make it out to be. I feel like people are kind of exaggerating on it, and in comparison, once we do size comparisons, I think this is so much of an improvement compared to that original Netflix figure from 2017. So yeah, not bad. Now let's move on to the accessories. Punisher doesn't really come with a whole lot of accessories, which again, a lot of people complained. And honestly, I think the complaints are actually deserved. For starters, he only has one fist and one C grip hand, which you can see right here, looks like it's meant to be holding a rifle. Now, of course, if you own any Marvel Legends, you know what to do. Yeah, and I also forgot to show, he has 2 trigger finger hands. But for the sake of the articulation, I will keep this hand on. But yeah, it is weird. Why is it just one fist and one trigger and like 2 trigger finger hands and one open hand? Why not have like 2 fists, 2 open hands, and 2 trigger finger hands? Is that too much to ask? I don't know. Moving on, we also have the knife, which is another thing I just noticed because it is actually bent. Because it is a very soft plastic material. I actually don't know why this and the machete and the hatchet and the gun are like a really soft plastic material. But yeah, it's very nicely detailed. I love the somewhat dark gray, like bluish gray on the handle. It's very nice. If you want to store it on the figure, it's at the back and it just simply goes on like so. However, because of the sculpt, it does cause the knife to bend, which is a huge bummer. And then, of course, it's not Punisher without a gun, and this is his only gun in the entirety of the figure. This is the only firearm he has, and it's not bad. I like the texture on the handle and the magazine and being different color, but like, I do wish he came with at least some rifle. Like a shotgun at least, because that's what he used in the show. So, but yeah, it goes on like so, and I forgot to mention there is actually a hole there, so you can make it look like he's shooting people for toy photography and such. And of course, it can store on his side like so, that. He also has a hatchet here, which is also nicely detailed. However, same flimsiness. Same flimsiness. It also just has some, if you can notice, there is some like damage as well on the blade, which is really cool. Unfortunately, it does not go anywhere. It does not hold. There's no holster. There's no anything. So you have to make sure he's like holding it. So overall, not a bad loadout, but man, I do wish he had more hands. I wish he had more weapons, but he's not bad. He's really not bad at all. Now let's move on to the articulation. Punisher's articulation is really good. Very much similar to Daredevil's. So it has somewhat the same flaws. I'd argue it has even more flaws, but we'll get to that right now. He has a dumbbell joint plus a ball joint at the base of the neck, so he can go all the way around. He can look up about this far. He can look down about this far. He can look left and right and also tilt side to side. Really good. He has a ball socket. He has a ball joint which is connected to a ball socket similar to most McFarlane figures. So there is a rotator cuff here. But it's kind of useless, to be honest with you. It can go up, it can go down, but not that much forward or back movement. It's very limited. His arms can go out about this much. Really good. Bicep swivel right there. Double jointed elbows. And then for the fist and the holding hand, you can swivel and also hinge right and left. Meanwhile, his trigger finger hands can go up and can go down. Not bad. He has a ball joint at the waist. However, or not the waist, at the abdomen. However, it's not as much range. He can't really crunch that much, nor can he, but he can crunch back all of a sudden. I don't know why. He does have a waist swivel. However, it's very much limited because of the belt. He has a ball joint at the leg. He can kick up about this far. He can't really kick back. He can do the splits. However, unfortunately, the magazines and the gun holster will get in the way. He has a thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and main issue, like with the Daredevil, no ankle swivel, no boot swivel. I don't know why Hasbro is doing that. And then, of course, his ankle can go up not that much, can go down about that much, and can pivot left, right. So overall, posability is very good. It's just, again, lack of ankles, lack of boot swivel is really, really annoying, especially for someone who should be doing a lot more poses, you know, fighting and shooting and everything like that. So, bit of a bummer to that. But otherwise, articulation is pretty solid. The neck is really doing a lot of movement. The arms are fine, legs are fine, just the boot swivel and the torso just need more range. Anyways, now let's move on to the size comparisons. Punisher is really tall, but he's about standard Marvel Legends. He's almost 6.5 inches tall right there. And for some size comparisons, here is the Born Again Punisher compared to probably my second favorite Punisher figure, the Gamerverse Punisher figure, which is really cool. It is using that War Journal body. Hope we get to see it more often. Hope we get a classic Punisher from it. But yeah, these two are my favorite Punishers from last year. And overall, they scale really nicely. Here is the Born Again Punisher compared to the Netflix Punisher from the Man-Thing Build-A-Figure wave. And yeah, huge upgrade. Paint, sculpt, the articulation, the everything. I think the only thing that this older one has is that he actually has more guns. But yeah, everything about this new one just completely destroys the old one. Excuse me. Head sculpt is not even a competition. The only thing I think the older one has is expression, but otherwise, it's clean slate. For another comparison, here is the Born Again Punisher compared to Born Again Daredevil. Punisher is just slightly a few centimeters or so taller, which I think is accurate because Bernthal is taller compared to Charlie Cox. So, yeah, really good scale there. Scale relative to, of course, Brand New Day. Here is the Born Again Punisher compared to the Mafex Final Swingsuit Spider-Man, and my last review, the SH Figure Arts Avengers Assemble Hulk. Lastly, for your average 6-inch scale comparison, here is the Born Again Punisher compared to a random G.I. Joe figure I found. I do not know where my Captain America is, but yeah, this is close enough for a 6-inch scale. So, is this Born Again Punisher worth getting? Yes. Is it worth getting even though there's a new one coming out? Well, it depends. If you do prefer this more clean-shaven look of Punisher, definitely get this one. But if you do want more accessories and want a bearded up Punisher, and if you like his new look, get the One Last Kill figure that's coming out. Or at least I believe it's One Last Kill. That's how I interpret it. But I think they're both great. From what I've seen with the new one, I think it looks great. This one is no slouch either. Yes, the likeness is, well, not the likeness, the emotion, like the expression is really not that great. But I don't think it's like such a huge deal breaker. Articulation is still really good. And overall, it really is, at least for its time, the best MCU Punisher figure we got. I mean, I know there's the Mezco and everything like that. I know there's also the older figure, but honestly, I think this one just destroys the older figure out of the water 100%. So yeah, definitely get this guy. Whether you're a diehard Punisher fan or are looking for a Punisher, or hell, if you want to kit bash this thing with the new One Last Kill Punisher, go ahead. I've seen some kit bashes of that. looks really cool. I'll put them on screen right now. Credit to them. But yeah, so I give this guy a solid 8.5 out of 10. So anyways, that's my review. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, and share this video. And until then, I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.